It has been 7 months since House Bill 3, which requires an armed officer at every school campus in Texas, became law. Central Texas school districts are still struggling to meet those requirements.
In a world where school safety is at the forefront of all our minds, how are school leaders managing to make ends meet while also following the law? Here's KVUE's Isabella Basco.
When an 18-year-old gunman freely entered Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, killing 19 students and 2 teachers, school safety became a priority in the hearts and minds of parents.
I could not ever imagine sending my kid to school one day and then them not coming home.
And of our state leaders.
Our schools being attacked and our children being killed.
Leading Texas lawmakers to pass a sweeping school safety measure to post an armed security officer at every school and provide mental health training for certain district employees. It went into effect in September. But months later, Central Texas school districts like Hays CISD are struggling to comply.
So we had an unfunded mandate, not to mention the fact that we were in consideration of numerous law enforcement shortages throughout our specific area and quite frankly across the state and the country.
For Hays CISD's head of district safety and security, Jerry Scrocky, it comes down to filling the positions. Scrocky says they have 15 positions they need to fill.
What I will tell you just in the I-35 corridor where we live is that all these agencies are competing for the same one officer to come to their agencies.
Under the law, the state gives each school district $15,000 per campus and $10 per student, which Manor ISD Superintendent Dr. Robert Sormani says isn't enough.
But it's not like these dollars come out of the air. They have to come from somewhere. So ultimately, we're going to have to make decisions on what we're going to do in the classroom, what we're going to do for staff salaries, what we're going to do for facilities.
Sormani admits trade-offs to comply with House Bill 3 are coming in many forms, like choosing not to open Wild Horse Elementary School, which was planned to open in the Wild Horse Master Plan's community of Manor, Texas.
I think one of the most important things that the state can do is provide a minimum amount per campus.
Austin ISD's Dr. Jacob Reach believes the state could have increased the amount of money each campus got to comply with HB 3.
We believe that that would probably be around $100,000 per campus, and then consider perhaps an additional amount per student that would help take into effect that some campuses are much larger than other campuses.
Hays CISD parent Esperanza Orozco wishes the legislature would have collaborated with superintendents from across the state to see how feasible this reality is.
So really having that conversation and saying, how are we going to do this and how are we going to fund it? Right now, districts all over the state of Texas are facing deficit budgets.
Despite the new law, critics question whether having armed guards is the best answer to the threat of campus violence or the smartest way to spend the limited amount of dollars meant to go to education.
The reality is increasing more guns in our schools does not make our schools more safe. It actually makes our students and our families less safe.
Paige Duggins-Clay is advocating the legislature to repeal House Bill 3.
Research shows that adding armed security, and particularly police, can destabilize school climates and ultimately doesn't prevent targeted school violence before it occurs.
The Center for Public Integrity analyzed data from the U.S. Department of Education that found school policing disproportionately affects students of color and students with disabilities. A national study found introducing police officers into schools does lead to an increase in the arrest rates of young children.
There are supposed to be very clear boundaries between school policing and security work and school discipline, but unfortunately, in our experience, that line gets blurred.
Esperanza Orozco is the mother of a student at Nagley Elementary, which is part of Hays CISD. She says House Bill 3 is impractical.
In my district alone, we have over 24 campuses. Is that realistic to think we'll have the law enforcement to staff each and every campus?
Jeff Seibel is the parent of 2 daughters, one in middle school and one in elementary. He has mixed feelings on the law.
I understand it from that perspective of why it needed to happen, but on the other side of it, taking away resources from other activities that kids are more involved in it's a difficult thing for districts to deal with.
Duggins-Clay worries about the impact of more law enforcement on school campuses.
We know that our educators are trained on the developmental stages of young people, and how to support them with, again, positive behavior interventions and support. And those same trainings and approaches are not certainly not core, I think, to what law enforcement is trained to do.
Learning from the tragedies of the past.
Just as a parent, it's just it's frustrating and it's sad, and again, I could not imagine my child not coming home.
So many questions still when it comes to preventing school-based violence, leaving parents and school leaders to find answers as we close one school year and soon begin another. As school districts still look to fill these positions, you can find a link with more information with this story on KVUE.com. In studio, Isabella Basco for KVUE News.